Imagine this for a second. You walk into a nursing home and the first thing you expect is silence, maybe a faint smell of medicine, the sound of wheelchairs rolling across the hallway, a nurse giving pills, and older folks sitting quietly watching television. But let me tell you something, behind those beige-colored walls and floral curtains, there's a whole world of secrets, scandals and affairs that nobody talks about. And if you think romance dies at 60, 70, or 80, you're about to have your mind blown, because what really happens behind closed doors in nursing homes would make your favorite soap opera look tame. And tonight I'm pulling the curtains wide open so you can see it all. Now here's the thing, people outside often imagine the elderly as fragile, tired, and uninterested in intimacy. But that's one of the biggest lies society ever told, because desire doesn't come with an expiration date. It doesn't vanish when you retire. It doesn't vanish when your hair turns gray. And in fact, in the locked rooms and quiet corners of nursing homes, something unexpected is happening. Love triangles, late-night rendezvous, sneaky kisses when the staff isn't watching, whispered promises in the dining hall, and sometimes even drama that could rival a reality TV show. And let me tell you, it's juicier than you'd believe. Picture this, an 82-year-old man who spent 50 years married suddenly finds himself single after his wife passed. He moves into a nursing home, and within weeks, he's already the star of attention. Women are smiling at him in the hall. One slips him extra pudding at dinner, another asks him to help her with her crossword, and soon enough there's tension because more than one lady wants his company, and suddenly you've got yourself a love triangle that makes The Bachelor look like child's play. And it doesn't stop there, oh no, because one of the secrets people don't like to admit is that nursing homes are often filled with widows and widowers, people who are lonely, craving affection, craving touch, craving companionship, and when you put hundreds of lonely hearts under the same roof, guess what happens? Sparks start to fly, and behind closed doors, those sparks can turn into wildfires. There's a story I once heard about a woman named Margaret, 78 years old, white hair pinned neatly every day, the kind of grandmother you'd picture knitting sweaters. But Margaret was the queen bee of her nursing home. She had a gentleman friend who visited her room almost every night. But here's the twist. She wasn't just entertaining one gentleman. No, Margaret had two, and they didn't even know about each other for months, until one night when the staff caught both men arguing in the hallway outside her door, raising voices, pointing fingers, fighting over who had the right to spend the night with her, and the whole nursing home was buzzing with the drama, whispers over breakfast, sly looks at bingo night, and Margaret, well, she sat there with a little smirk on her face like she was the star of her own private drama series. But listen closely, because this isn't just about juicy affairs and drama, it's about something deeper too. The truth is, when people move into nursing homes, they lose so much, their independence, their house, their privacy, sometimes even the company of family who only visits once in a while, and in that loneliness they seek connection wherever they can find it, and sometimes that connection takes the form of scandalous relationships, sometimes it's secret kisses, sometimes it's holding hands under the dining table, sometimes it's sneaking into each other's rooms after the lights go out, because human beings crave touch, we crave love, and that never fades, not even in our final years. Now, you might be wondering, how do these relationships even happen with staff watching, with cameras around, with strict rules? But here's the kicker, the staff knows, they see it all, they hear the whispers, they catch the stolen moments, and most of the time they turn a blind eye, because they understand that life in a nursing home can feel empty without those little bursts of passion. So yes, while management might frown on it officially, in reality most of the staff let it slide, unless things get too messy, and oh, they do get messy. There's another story of a man named George, 90 years old, sharp mind but weak legs, always sitting in his wheelchair with a book in hand, and George had a sweetheart, Helen, 84, a quiet woman who always wore blue sweaters, and everyone thought they were adorable. They'd sit together at lunch, feed each other cookies, and hold hands during TV time. But here's the scandal, George also had a side fling with a new resident, a fiery 70-year-old redhead named Patricia, who wasn't about to let old age stop her from having fun, and suddenly George was juggling two women in the same building, and guess what happened? One afternoon, Helen wheeled herself into Patricia's room, found George there, and oh boy, chaos erupted. Voices were raised, accusations were thrown, staff had to separate them, and the story spread like wildfire across the home, everyone taking sides, gossip echoing in the corridors like it was high school all over again, except this wasn't high school, this was a nursing home. See, that's what most outsiders don't get. The nursing home isn't the end of life, it's just another stage, and drama, romance, betrayal, and passion don't magically vanish. In fact, sometimes they intensify because people feel like they have nothing to lose, and that gives them the freedom to live boldly, to sneak into rooms, to kiss who they want, to fall in love fast, because time feels short, and that urgency makes everything burn hotter.
And you want to know something even spicier? STDs are actually on the rise in nursing homes. You heard me right. Studies have shown that sexually transmitted diseases among seniors are increasing because guess what? Protection isn't something they always think about. Many of them grew up in an era before modern sex education. They think pregnancy isn't an issue anymore. So why bother? And boom, you've got outbreaks in places you wouldn't expect. And the staff has to quietly deal with the medical side of these secret affairs. But beyond the scandals, the fights, the gossip, there's something heartbreakingly human about all of this, because what you're really seeing is proof that intimacy, in all its messy, complicated, beautiful forms, is a lifelong need, and no matter how many birthdays you've celebrated, no matter how many wrinkles you have, no matter if you're in a nursing home or a penthouse, people still crave connection, people still crave the spark of being wanted, of being touched, of being loved. Now imagine this scene, late at night, the hallways are dark, the staff are doing rounds, and two residents sneak down the corridor, one pushing the other in a wheelchair, giggling like teenagers. They slip into a room, close the door quietly, and for a few hours they forget about their aching joints, their prescriptions, their family who only visits on holidays, and they just feel alive. And in that moment, isn't that what we all want? To feel alive, to feel seen, to feel loved. And here's the secret most people don't talk about. Sometimes families find out, and oh, the drama that follows. Picture a son visiting his 85-year-old mother, only to discover she's sharing her bed with another resident, and the family is shocked, embarrassed, maybe even angry. But to the mother, it's simple. She just wants love. She just wants companionship. And isn't she entitled to that? After all she's lived, after all she's given, doesn't she deserve it? This is why nursing homes are not what you think. They're not quiet places of stillness. They're buzzing hives of emotions, secrets, jealousy, and yes, affairs. And the only reason the world doesn't know is because behind closed doors the curtains are drawn, the whispers stay in the halls, and society looks away, preferring to believe that old age is a season of stillness instead of passion. But I'm here to tell you, passion is alive and well in those rooms, and the stories are wilder than anything you've imagined. And the thing is, the more you look at it, the more you realize nursing homes are like little secret societies, each one with its own rules, unspoken hierarchies, and hidden romances. Because just like in the outside world, some residents are popular, and some are lonely, some are envied, and some are ignored. And the ones who have charisma, confidence, or simply the willingness to take risks often end up at the center of the action, while others watch from the sidelines, gossiping, whispering, and sometimes wishing they were part of the drama. And don't get it twisted, jealousy burns just as hot at 80 as it did at 18, maybe even hotter, because when you're older, you know how precious time is, so if someone steals the companion you've been eyeing, that betrayal cuts deep. Let me paint you another picture. Imagine a woman named Doris, 87 years old, frail body but still sharp tongue, always cracking jokes and charming everyone at bingo. And Doris had her eyes set on Frank, an 89-year-old war veteran with a cane and a smile that could melt butter. They started spending time together, slowly, lunches, walks down the hall, long talks about old music, and everyone thought it was sweet. But there was another lady, Agnes, who had been interested in Frank too, and when she saw Doris and Frank growing close, oh boy, the jealousy was so strong she refused to sit at the same dining table anymore, and before long the entire home had split into two camps, Team Doris and Team Agnes. Staff would overhear arguments at dinner, residents whispering, taking sides, saying things like, Agnes deserves him, she's been here longer, or no, Doris makes him happy, leave them be, and suddenly the whole atmosphere was charged like a high school cafeteria. And if you think that's wild, wait until you hear about secret late-night visits. Because yes, despite staff checks and rules, residents find ways, sometimes slipping into each other's rooms at 2 in the morning, sometimes sneaking kisses in storage closets, sometimes bribing a friendly nurse to look the other way. Because when you want something badly enough, you find a way, no matter your age. There was one case where staff found a couple hiding under blankets in the laundry room, giggling like kids, and though they pretended to be shocked, most of the staff couldn't help but laugh, because how can you really punish two 80-year-olds for wanting to feel alive? But here's the side most people don't see. Sometimes these affairs create heartbreak too, because while love may not have an age limit, jealousy and betrayal don't either. There was a resident named Harold, 92, who fell deeply in love with a widow named Betty. They were inseparable, holding hands, eating together, even attending the nursing home's events side by side, and Harold thought he'd found his last great love. But then Betty met a new resident, a younger man of 75, who was still strong enough to dance and walk without help, and suddenly Harold was replaced, just like that, and the heartbreak crushed him.
He stopped eating as much. He stopped reading his books. He sat alone in the corner of the TV room, and staff whispered that maybe it was the heartbreak, not age, that was finally breaking him. That's the side of nursing home affairs people don't talk about. The pain, the loneliness that comes when the little bit of joy you found slips away. Now let's be clear, not every affair is dramatic. Some are beautiful, touching, and full of sweetness, but they still happen in secret, because families often don't understand. Imagine your grandmother suddenly telling you she has a boyfriend, or your grandfather suddenly having a girlfriend after decades alone. Many families react with shock, even anger, saying, "At your age, really?" Or worrying about inheritance, or what the neighbors will think. And because of that, many residents keep it hidden, whispering in the hallways, closing the blinds, keeping their love a secret from the outside world. But inside the home, it's no secret at all. There was even a story of two residents who wanted to get married. Yes, married, in their 80s, and the nursing home staff helped arrange a little ceremony in the recreation room, with paper flowers, a cake, and music from the 40s. And while most of the residents cheered, a few whispered about how unfair it was that they didn't have someone of their own.